Hey everyone. I know it's Christmas Eve and you've all got a million things to do. Budgety, we're going to take a few minutes for a fascinating deep dive into how AI is learning to draw caricatures.
Yeah.
Like those artists you see at theme parks and stuff.
Yeah, like the ones who make you laugh at yourself.
Exactly. Now imagine AI doing the same thing.
It's a remarkable challenge, actually.
Oh, totally.
Caricature as an art form relies on this human ability to grasp like someone's essence.
Right.
And then amplify it in a humorous, often like satirical way.
Yeah.
So teaching that to a machine, that's some cutting edge stuff.
Our source material today is this research paper called,
Oh yeah, I read that.
Carigans, Unpaired Photo to Caricature Translation.
Catchy title.
I know, right? The title alone had me intrigued.
Yeah.
Who hasn't wanted to see themselves, transformed into a caricature?
Right.
But what really struck me was that this isn't just about like slapping on a silly filter.
No.
This is about AI understanding the art of caricature.
Yeah, the key is teaching a machine to exaggerate those features,
Right.
but without making the face completely unrecognizable. Like if you think about those face aging apps, they often just stretch and pull features.
Yeah.
Without any real understanding of like facial structure.
Yeah, they get all distorted.
A good caricature artist knows how to exaggerate specific features,
Right.
but in a way that still looks like you, maybe even emphasizes your likeness.
It's like they capture your personality or something.
Exactly.
So how did the researchers behind Carigans crack the code?
Well, they developed a two-stage approach.
Okay.
The first stage is called Caricature.
GAN.
Yeah.
That even sounds like some superhero of caricature.
Kinda does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But it focuses on the geometry of exaggeration.
Okay.
So essentially figuring out how to stretch and manipulate facial features.
So how does it actually work?
It uses those facial landmarks.
Oh, you mean those points they use for like face recognition?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
As a guide.
Right.
But instead of randomly moving those points around, it uses something called PCA.
PTA.
Which stands for Principal Component Analysis.
Oh.
It's kind of like taking a complex recipe and boiling it down to its essential ingredients.
I like that analogy.
So for faces, it finds the most important ways a face can vary. Like, wider nose, bigger chin,
Okay.
that sort of thing, and represents those variations in a simplified way.
So it's not just randomly like stretching and squishing features.
Yeah.
It's working within a kind of blueprint.
Yeah.
What makes a face look like a face.
Exactly. Caricature again works within this face space to make sure that even with exaggeration, the result still looks human.
So not like some abstract Picasso painting or something.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes a lot of sense.
And this is a key insight.
Yeah.
Because it shows how AI can learn to operate within the constraints of human perception. It's not just about random distortions. It's about understanding the subtle rules that make a face look like a face.
Right. But a good caricature is more than just like a distorted face.
Of course.
It has to have that like artistic flair, that unique style.
Absolutely. That's where the second stage comes in.
Okay.
Caricature. This part is all about appearance. The artistic style of the caricature.
So we've got Caricature handling the exaggeration.
Right.
And Caricature adding the artistic touch.
Yeah, what a dynamic duo.
I like it.
They work together beautifully.
Okay.
So Caricature uses a really ingenious trick. It warps existing caricatures to match the shape of photos, creating a kind of intermediate data set that allows Caricature to focus on learning the colors, textures, shading.
All those artistic elements.
Yeah, without being confused by the different shapes of photos and caricatures.
So it's like separating the what from the...
Exactly.
Caricature figures out what features to exaggerate. And then Caricature figures out how to make those exaggerations look like a real caricature with all the artistic style and flair.
Yeah, it's like they're getting a crash course in art school.
I love it.
But the real question is, does it actually work?
Right. Can Carigans create caricatures that are as good as the ones drawn by human artists?
Well, the results are pretty impressive.
On the edge of my seat, tell me everything.
They actually did user studies.
Oh, wow.
To compare Carrigan's creations to hand-drawn caricatures. And what they found was remarkable.
Okay.
So they found that people could recognize the subjects of Carrigan's caricatures almost as well as they could recognize hand-drawn ones, and much better than other AI methods.
So it's not just capturing the style, but it's maintaining like the essence of the person too.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
And in another study focused on style faithfulness, participants often ranked Kerrigan's results as highly as real caricatures.
Wow.
There was even this one case where a Kerrigan's caricature fooled people into thinking it was drawn by a human artist.
AI fooling humans into thinking it's an artist that's next level.
It is pretty impressive.
I'm really curious about those user studies.
Yeah.
Can you tell me more about how they were set up?
Of course. So they actually conducted 2 separate studies to really put Kerrigan's to the test. The first one focused on recognizability. They showed participants a caricature and asked them to choose the matching photo from a set of 5. You know, it's a crucial test because you want to make sure those exaggerations don't make the faces completely unrecognizable.
It needs to still look like the person.
Right.
How did Kerrigan's perform?
It did remarkably well.
Okay.
Participants were almost as good at recognizing the subjects of Kerrigan's caricatures as they were at recognizing those from hand-drawn ones.
So it's not just creating, like, funny or exaggerated faces.
Right.
It's actually maintaining the essence of the person.
Yeah.
Even in caricature form.
True caricature isn't just about distortion.
Right.
It's about emphasizing certain features in a way that actually makes the person more recognizable.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
What about this second study?
So the second study focused on style faithfulness.
Okay.
They wanted to know how well Kerrigan's could match the style of hand-drawn caricatures.
Okay.
Participants were shown a hand-drawn caricature
Right.
and 5 different versions of that same caricature created by various methods.
Including Caricature.
Including Kerrigan's, right?
Right.
Then they had to rank the caricatures from most to similar to the hand-drawn one.
That sounds like a tough task.
It is. Definitely requires a keen eye.
Yeah, I can imagine trying to analyze all those subtle differences in style.
Right.
Yeah.
But the results were fascinating.
Okay.
Hand-drawn caricatures, and those made by Kerrigan's consistently ranked as the top 2.
Wow. Okay.
And get this, in almost 23% of the cases.
Really?
Participants actually ranked Kerrigan's creations. Wow.
As better than the hand-drawn ones.
AI actually outperforming human artists in some cases.
In some cases, yeah.
It's incredible and a little bit unnerving at the same time.
Yeah, it is a bit mind-blowing.
What's that even mean for the future of art?
That is a really intriguing question.
Yeah.
It suggests that AI isn't simply mimicking human creativity, but developing its own capacity for artistic expression.
Right.
But let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Okay.
Kerrigan's is also a practical tool with many potential applications.
We were talking about personalized gifts, interactive booths, maybe even some forensic applications.
Right.
And then there's that whole world of video caricature, which sounds wild.
Exactly.
But before we dive into all that, are there any downsides to Kerrigan's?
Well, yeah, there are a few limitations worth mentioning.
Okay. Every superhero has a weakness, right?
Exactly. So one limitation is that GANs exaggerations tend to be more pronounced in the overall shape of the face.
Rather than in specific facial features.
Oh, so like hair wrinkles.
Those things don't get quite the same level of attention.
So it's better at like the big picture than the fine details.
Kind of, yeah.
Why is that?
It has to do with how facial landmarks are usually used. Most facial landmark detectors focus on points along the contour of the face, and those points then end up having more influence on the PCA representation.
So it's like the AI is getting more data about the outline of the face than about the smaller features.
Exactly.
What are the limitations that they point out?
Another area for improvement
Okay.
is the multimodality of Caricature.
Multimodality?
Yeah. Remember how we talked about Caricature being able to generate multiple caricatures in different styles from the same photo?
Yeah, different artistic styles.
Yeah, they haven't quite achieved that same level of multimodality with Caricature.
So it can only create one type of exaggeration per photo?
For now, yes.
Yeah.
The challenge is separating the content and style of geometric exaggeration.
Right.
It's more abstract than separating those things when it comes to appearance.
Yeah, that sounds tricky.
It is.
They're trying to define different styles for a nose or a chin.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a complex problem, but one that researchers are actively exploring.
Even with those limitations, Kerrigan's is a remarkable achievement.
Yeah.
It really is. It's really pushing the boundaries of what we thought AIs could do with art and creativity.
Absolutely. And it's inspiring researchers to think about even more ambitious goals.
Like what?
Like creating high-resolution caricatures and having even more control over style and exaggeration.
That sounds incredible. It seems like we're just scratching the surface of what's possible.
I think so.
But I want to go back to something you mentioned earlier about GAN struggling with some of the less common or unusual styles in the training data.
Oh, right.
Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah. It's an important detail to keep in mind. While GAN was able to learn a wide range of styles, it did tend to gravitate towards the most common or representative styles in the dataset. When it encountered a style that was particularly unique or unconventional, it sometimes had a little trouble replicating it accurately.
So it's like a student who excels at following the textbook, but struggles when asked to think outside the box.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And it highlights the potential limitations of relying solely on data-driven approaches to AI. Data is essential for training these systems. But we also have to consider the role of human expertise and intuition.
So we need a balance between data and human touch.
Exactly. In the case of GANs, it would be interesting to see if incorporating feedback from human artists or developing new methods that allow for more control over style would lead to even better results.
That's a really interesting thought.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder if we'll ever reach a point where AI can not only replicate human creativity, but actually surpass it.
That's a question that has been debated for centuries. But one thing is certain. As AI continues to evolve, it will continue to challenge our assumptions about what's possible and force us to confront fundamental questions about the nature of creativity
and consciousness.
It's
a journey full of promise and uncertainty.
It is.
I, for one, am excited to see where it leads.
Me too.
But for now, let's shift gears for a moment.
Okay.
And talk about some of the potential real-world applications of this technology.
Yeah, let's get practical.
We touched on a few ideas earlier, like personalized GIFs and interactive booths. But what are some other ways GANs could be used in the real world?
Well, one area that's particularly interesting is the potential for forensic applications.
AI caricature artists helping to solve crimes. That sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
It might sound far-fetched, but it's actually a very real possibility. Think about it in many criminal investigations. Eyewitness accounts are crucial. But what if the only description you have of a suspect is a verbal one? Or even a rough sketch?
I can see where this is going.
Yeah.
GANs could be used to generate a caricature from that description. Potentially helping to identify the suspect.
Exactly.
That's incredible.
It could be a valuable tool for law enforcement. Helping to narrow down potential suspects and even leading to breakthroughs in cold cases.
It really shows the power of AI to solve real-world problems.
It does.
But what about some of the lighter applications? We talked about personalized GIFs and interactive booths. Can you elaborate on those?
Of course. So imagine being able to create a personalized caricature for a friend's birthday. Or as a unique holiday gift.
That's a great idea.
It would be a fun and memorable present.
Yeah.
Captures their personality in a way that a photograph simply can't.
I love that idea. It would be so much more personal than just giving someone a generic gift card.
Yeah, exactly.
What about the interactive booths?
So those could revolutionize entertainment at events. Parties, weddings, or even corporate gatherings. Guests could step into a booth, have their photo taken, and within seconds, receive a personalized caricature.
That's brilliant.
It would be a fun and engaging activity that creates lasting memories.
It would be a huge hit at any event.
It would.
And I can even imagine these booths popping up at tourist attractions, theme parks.
Oh, yeah.
Even shopping malls.
Absolutely. The possibilities are truly endless.
And then, of course, there's the potential for video caricature. Which is a whole other world of creative possibilities.
Exactly.
Okay, let's talk video caricature.
All right.
That sounds like it could be either incredibly cool or incredibly creepy.
Yeah.
Depending on how it's done.
I think it has the potential to be both.
Okay.
Imagine watching your favorite movie scene.
Yeah.
And seeing all the characters transformed into hilarious caricatures.
Oh my.
Or think about the possibilities for animation and special effects.
I'm picturing a live-action version of a classic cartoon.
Oh, yeah.
The actors could have their movements and expressions exaggerated in real time.
Right.
Creating a truly unique and immersive experience.
Exactly. And wouldn't just be limited to entertainment.
Okay.
Video character could also be used for educational purposes,
Huh.
bringing historical figures
Wow.
or scientific concepts to life
Yeah.
in a more engaging and memorable way.
That's fascinating.
It is.
It sounds like Kerrigan's is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to AI and caricature.
I think so.
But before we get too carried away with future possibilities, let's take a step back and consider some of the broader implications of this technology.
Yes, let's connect this back to the larger conversation about AI and creativity.
We've talked about the technical details and the potential applications.
Yeah.
But what does it mean for a machine to be able to create something like caricature?
Right.
Something that's so deeply rooted in human perception and humor.
It's a profound question.
Yeah.
And one that's sparking a lot of debate. Some people argue that AI can never truly be creative because it's simply following instructions, processing data. But Kerrigan's and other AI systems like it are challenging that assumption.
So is AI becoming like a legitimate artist? Are we going to see AI-generated art in museums and on the music charts?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
Some people believe that AI art is simply a novelty, a clever imitation of human creativity.
Okay.
But others see it as a genuine form of artistic expression, even if it's still in its early stages.
Where do you stand on this debate?
Honestly, I find myself leaning more and more towards the latter perspective. While AI may not experience creativity in the same way that we do, there's no denying that these systems are capable of producing original and aesthetically pleasing work.
And in the case of Kerrigan's, it's even able to evoke humor.
Right.
Which is a pretty complex human emotion.
It is. Creating a caricature that's both recognizable and funny requires understanding human facial features, expressions, and even cultural norms.
So maybe AI's approach to creativity is different from ours. But that doesn't make it any less valid.
Precisely.
Okay.
It's also important to remember that human creativity has always been influenced by technology. From the printing press to digital photography, technology has shaped how we create and experience art.
That's a great point. AI could just be the next chapter in the evolution of creativity.
I believe it is. And I'm really excited to see how AI will continue to push the boundaries of artistic expression in the coming years.
Me too. But I think we've given our listeners a lot to think about today.
We've explored the fascinating world of AI caricature. From the technical details to the philosophical implications.
It's a thought-provoking reminder that AI is more than just algorithms and data. It's a reflection of ourselves, our creativity, and our capacity for wonder.
And as we continue to develop these technologies, we must do so with a sense of responsibility awareness. And maybe even a touch of humor.
Well said. Now I think it's time to let our listeners get back to their holiday preparations.
Yeah, probably a good idea.
Any final thoughts before we wrap things up?
Just this. If AI can learn to draw caricatures that make us laugh soft, what other aspects of human emotion and experience could it learn to tap into? It's something to ponder as we enter this season of joy and reflection.
It is a great question to ponder, isn't it? It really makes you think about all the things AI could learn to do. You know, not just in art, but maybe understanding human emotions.
It's definitely a fascinating frontier. I'm sure it'll raise even more questions as AI keeps evolving.
Oh, absolutely. But before we let everyone get back to their holiday stuff, I want to go back to something we mentioned earlier. You know, that idea of separating geometric and appearance styles in AI art. It seems like a small detail, but I feel like it has some pretty big implications.
Yeah, you're right. That separation is a fundamental concept in this research, and it hints at a bigger shift in how we're approaching AI and creativity.
Can you explain that a little more?
Okay. So traditionally when we've tried to teach AI to create art, we've focused on mimicking the entire process from start to finish.
Right. Like just saying, okay, here's a paintbrush, here's a canvas, now go paint a masterpiece.
Exactly. And that's tough, even for a human artist.
Totally.
But what Kerrigan's shows is that we can make it easier for AI to learn. You know, if we break down the creative process into smaller steps.
So instead of draw a caricature, it's more like first learn to exaggerate features, then learn different artistic styles.
Exactly. It's like teaching someone to cook. First you show them how to chop vegetables, then you show them how to use spices.
That makes a lot of sense. It's way more structured. And it seems to be working.
It really does. And this idea of breaking down complex tasks, I think it goes beyond art.
Oh, really? How so?
Well, it could be applied to music composition, writing, maybe even scientific discovery.
So it's not just AI artists. It's AI systems that can learn in a more human-like way.
That's it. Giving AI the tools to be more versatile, adaptable, and ultimately more creative.
Man, the possibilities are kind of mind-blowing.
They really are. But as we go down this road, it's super important that we do it responsibly,
For sure. We talked about the ethical side of things, especially with facial recognition and the potential for misuse.
Right. And that's a conversation we need to keep having as this technology becomes more powerful and more part of our everyday lives.
Absolutely. Well, I think we've covered a lot today. The brilliance of GANs, the potential uses, even the philosophical stuff about AI and creativity.
It's been a great deep dive. A perfect example of why we do this show, to explore cutting-edge technology and its impact.
Couldn't agree more. But for now, we'll let everyone get back to their holiday celebrations. Hope you enjoyed this deep dive into AI caricature and maybe learned a thing or two.
Happy holidays, everyone.
And from all of us here at the Deep Dive, we wish you a season full of joy, laughter, and who knows, maybe even a few AI-generated caricatures.